I move to strike the last word.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Let's go back. As has been stated today, the Constitution devotes only a few sentences to impeachment. So I'm going to read one. It's Article 1, Section 2, the very last sentence. The House of Representatives shall choose their Speaker and other officers and shall have the sole power of impeachment. As Professor Raskin just told us, properly, the Constitution uses the word sole only twice. Sole, not shared. Not shared with the judiciary, not shared with the executive. This means that we have the sole opportunity and obligation, frankly, to determine what evidence is necessary for impeachment. Sole, not shared with the executive. Think back. Judiciary Chairman Peter Rodino warned President Nixon about his failure to comply with subpoenas issued in the Watergate impeachment inquiry. Under the Constitution, it is not within the power of the President to conduct an inquiry into his own impeachment to determine which evidence and what version or portion of that evidence is relevant and necessary to such an inquiry. These are matters which, under the Constitution, Rodino wrote, the House has the sole power to determine. Sole, not shared with the executive. Sole, not shared with the courts. It's a civics lesson. Don't let the other side, who have such talented constitutional attorneys over there, distract you. This is not an ordinary dispute, folks. This is a very rare, thankfully, very rare dispute. It is not an ordinary dispute where you go to the court. We don't need permission to use our constitutional rules. If President Trump is allowed to refuse to comply with requests for information, it would gut the House impeachment power and undermine our bedrock principle of separation of powers. Last night as we left here, I wanted to just tell you this. I went outside and there was a team of about 12 high school students from Ohio with their teacher. And they said, would you mind stopping for a minute? Could we just talk to you for a minute? It was so interesting to watch and to listen and to hear what was going on at this important historic time. We loved learning about our Constitution and how much you prize this Constitution. Thank you for protecting it for us. And you know what they said to me? We didn't understand this before, but I do now. It's your job. It is the House's job to determine what evidence comes in. We do not need permission from the President. We do not need permission from the courts. In fact, we have an obligation to do our job under this simple, smart document. Today, December the 12th, marks the anniversary of Pennsylvania coming into the Union. I think about those framers in my city of Philadelphia, so wisely thinking through these words. Today marks 232 years since those wise men thought through how would we conceive of our government and how would we maintain self-government. Do not be confused by the lawyers on the other side who would teach the wrong civics lesson and distract you with the notion we need to go to court. We need permission of a president. We need permission of a court. We do not. With that, I yield. I'd like to yield to the gentle lady from Texas.